is episode 27 of Granny Square Sunday. We are going to be looking at the update that I have to any squares that I crocheted from the Modern Guide to Granny Squares. And we are also going to be talking about my Granny Square cardigan. And I let my family help me come up with cardigan designs. And you guys are going to get to vote on which one you think that I should go with. Hey, it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. It is episode 27 of Granny Square Sunday, and this is a series where I take you through any projects that I have been working on this week that are Granny Square related. Now, I am usually an amigurumi girl. Most of you guys know that are viewers of Granny Square Sunday. And I just like to mix it up a little bit and keep a Granny Square project going because I found a love of making Granny Squares back in September when I crocheted all the squares in the original Granny Square card deck. We are getting super close to the release of the new card deck that Claire Montgomerie is coming out with. And I think the last time I checked Amazon, it said like May 6th it would be delivered. And so what I'm thinking is we're going to take a little bit of a break from the Modern Guide to Granny Squares, and starting as soon as I get that card deck, we're going to start crocheting all the squares. So if you want to join in along the crochet along, I guess we're going to call it a Granny Square card deck crochet along, you'll want to get your card deck from Amazon. I think that's going to probably be the easiest place to get it from. And you can do a pre-order now. I'll have the link for that in the description. And even though the disclaimer says so, I am an Amazon affiliate, so I earn a little tiny portion of commission if you use the link in my description box. You don't have to. It's okay if you don't. Or if you get the box from somewhere else, like that's fine too. I have no idea who gets the box from my Amazon link and who doesn't. It doesn't even matter where you get it. But make sure that you're getting a original deck, not a dupe, because like in my video that started this whole series, there are probably going to be dupe decks out there. Getting it from the original publisher, which I'm gonna guess is Search Press again, that Amazon link should get you an original copy of the card deck. From what I've looked at, it looks to be a lot of the flower type granny squares, which I'm super excited about. So I just found this box to be a great kind of beginner way to kind of introduce myself to granny squares. My very first granny square project that I ever did was my daughter's Eras Tour blanket, and the granny squares in that particular crochet along were pretty like simple. The only thing that kind of challenged me with that crochet along was the motifs that you had to make to go on some of the granny squares, but there weren't a lot of squares in that were like very intricate. So going through this card deck introduced me to a lot of new stitches, but the squares were small enough that it didn't challenge me too much. Like there were like maybe a few, probably like 5 or 6 that were really kind of hard for me. And those were the ones that were the diagonal, like this kind, where there was like color changes and diagonals and stuff. I made it through and I got them made, but for the most part, I would say that these card decks are pretty beginner friendly. So I'm super excited for that new card deck to come. And I'll be honest, this book is challenging me, and that proved to be the case in the square that I had picked to crochet this week, so we'll get to that in just a minute. Kind of a long-winded introduction to this video. In today's video, we are going to be looking at the update that I have to any squares that I crocheted from the Modern Guide to Granny Squares. And we are also going to be talking about my Granny Square cardigan and revealing some possible Granny Square layout designs for my cardigan. I think I have 5 different options. I let my family help me come up with cardigan designs, and you guys are going to get to vote on which one you think that I should go with. But first, let's get into the Modern Guide to Granny Squares and give you guys just a quick update on any squares that I finished and what we're going to do for the next week or two. So last week, I did not complete any squares from this book. So the square that I had started and not finished was, hold on, hold please. This was the square that I had started last week and didn't finish. And I'm happy to report that I got it finished. So yay me. But this one is all I got for you this week as far as granny squares that I've completed. And one thing that I will say about this square, it's the color block double crochet square. Like this pattern of a square is one that I've done like a lot of times, you know, just the basic like double crochet and then you chain two, you know, this pattern. What I don't like is these color changes, the diagonal. And the other thing that I didn't do on this one is I did not flip and turn my work. So I just continued in the round. And I mean, I do like the way that it looks. And I feel like it's, you know, I feel like it's with blocking, it'll be square enough. But the other thing that I didn't do on this one, and it was simply because I wasn't sure how to go about it with doing the color changes on the diagonal. And that is where it tells you to slip stitch your way to the corner. So you can totally see right here where I was starting the next round. And so if that was my only critique of this square, that would be it. But, you know, you live and learn. And I figure with this one, I might make some sort of little pouch or something with it. And so then you wouldn't really see that so much, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, like see if I made a little pouch, you wouldn't really even be able to tell or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'll do with this one, but I made this one go along with this color scheme. So here's the 4 of them in this color, what do people call it? Colorway? I don't know technical terms. But yeah, I don't know what to do with these. I really love this one though. I think that's my favorite one that I might have done out of this book so far. It's really pretty. Anyways, it looks very Valentine-y, so who knows what will become of these squares. Now, the square I had picked to work on this week was this one. And I really thought that it wouldn't be that hard until I got into it and realized that it was going to be a lot of color changing. Almost like every row to start off with was a color change. And I didn't get very far. I didn't really have the right colors. I was kind of hoping I could make it look like the book. But I didn't have the right pink. I didn't have the right red. Like I just didn't have the right color. So then I was like, well, I'll just make it like an American flag. And then that's as far as I got before I just said, F it. You know, it was prom weekend for my daughter and I had to do some alterations on her dress. And so honestly, I didn't really feel like I had time to like figure it out. So I just didn't. And that's the reality of this. I told you in previous videos that I wasn't going to stress myself out over this. And so, yeah, I just said, meh, not doing it. I'll save it for another time when I can sit down and really like pay attention to what they're telling me to do. Because even though this was a, you know, it was a skill level 1, I just wasn't in the mood to slow down and figure it out. So needless to say, that was there was not another completed square for this week. But, you know, I did get some alterations done to my daughter's prom dress. Usually I work on granny squares like sometime on Friday, and then finish it up on Saturday. And this weekend, Friday, I spent extra time like altering my daughter's prom dress. This was her prom dress before, and then she wanted some little cap sleeves on it. And so I luckily had the fabric in my stash, and then I added these little cap sleeves. And then it was prom. My other daughter came home for the weekend, and so it's been more of a family weekend, and so I just really wasn't going to stress myself out on like crocheting granny squares for this video. For next week, I am not going to commit to crocheting any granny squares from this book. And if I get a wild hair and want to and have some extra time, I might. but I'm not going to commit to one simply because a couple different reasons. One, my daughter's birthday is coming up next weekend, and it's her 18th birthday, and so I've got to clean house, I've got to get the party ready, I got to get stuff ready to have people over. I also have my last market of the spring coming up. It's kind of funny though, because other crocheters are talking about how their market season's just getting ready to kick off, and I'm over here like preparing for my last market of the season here in Arizona, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I do have that last market, and then I still have, you know, the a couple videos to make this week. And I want to start getting back into creating, you know, shorts and reels and stuff. So I just have a lot of stuff going on this week. So not committing to any granny squares, but I am committed to working on my granny square cardigan, which brings us to our next thing to talk about. So last week I got all the squares crocheted and outlined in pink and ready to go for my very first granny square cardigan, that is. And I decided to come up with a few different layouts of the squares in order to, you know, start piecing the squares together and all of that. And I came up with a fun way to do that. First thing I did is I decided on a layout for the squares. And so what I did is I just poured all the squares out onto the coffee table and kind of just arranged them how I wanted them, I guess, my first go around. And this is kind of how that one turned out. And then the next few clips I'm going to show you are, I decided to go ahead and put together a kind of a blind bag, blindfold, let the universe decide on how my cardigan should be laid out. And so basically I put all of my granny squares into my little zipper pouch bag thing. And I have this little neck camera thing that holds my phone, and I put my phone on that. And then I just blindly grabbed squares from the bag and laid them out. And I just put them in order. I didn't rearrange or anything. I just let the universe decide on how this second layout was going to go. And so this is how that went. And then this is how the final layout came out. And then since my oldest daughter was here for the weekend, I then asked her if she wanted to come up with a layout design and got her to put together a layout. happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Next was my husband, and here was his go at of laying out the cardigan. He thought he thought that the front panels were the sleeves. I don't know why, but that's just what he said after the fact. Or this is what my husband came up with for his layout of my cardigan.
Was there a method to your madness?
On the sleeve there was.
There's no sleeves. This isn't sleeves.
What are those?
This is the front of the sweater.
On the front there was.
Okay. So the next clip you'll see is my youngest daughter putting together the squares for the cardigan. This is the top, or this is the top.
Oh, so is this together?
Well, like this is the middle of the sweater.
Oh, okay. That's the top. That's the top.
Okay. These are the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then this is, no wait. That's the top.
Oh, that was 5 across.
Oh yeah, you're right. So which one's the top? This one?
That one.
Okay. Top. This is just for my own reference. Top. Top.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just thought that would be kind of a fun way to get several different versions of the cardigan. I personally don't care which way it turns out, honestly, but what I thought I would do is put all 5 designs on a poll on my community tab and allow you guys to vote on them. And then whichever one gets the most votes, that's the way that I'll design the cardigan. So I'm going to open up a poll on the community tab here on YouTube. I will probably also do a poll over on Instagram just to kind of get more eyes on it. But again, I'm not going to say in the polls whose version is who. I'm just going to say, you know, these are 5 different versions of a layout for my very first granny square cardigan. Which one do you like the best? And whichever one gets the most votes is the way that I will go with on designing and laying out my cardigan. I think that makes sense. Does it? I think it does. Okay. We're going to that's how we're going to do it. While you guys are voting and while I have voting open, I think I'll keep it open for just a few days, maybe a week or so. I'm not going to be able to really do much else. I was just looking at the pattern that I'm using. So this is the pattern that I am using to kind of put my cardigan together. And so I was just looking at it, and I have to get it all sewn together before I start on the sleeves. So with that in mind, the only thing I can really work on this week then is weaving in all my ends and blocking my squares. And then while I wait for all the votes to come in on which layout to go with, then we can save the actual sewing together for the following week. So that is the plan. So that's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, because on Tuesday, we are doing a month of crochet. So I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I crocheted during the month of March. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. I don't take you to anywhere. These the cardigan, it doesn't open. Hello?